Welcome to Wines We Drink, a podcast for wine lovers and learners. I'm Charlotte Norsworthy Varnum, and together with my counterpart Keith Herndon, we'll be exploring a new wine each week. Keith is a lover of wine, and I'm a learner of wine, and we hope you'll sip along with us. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wines We Drink, our summer fun project where we drink and talk about wine. I'm Charlotte Varnum, and with me today, as always, is my co-host Keith Herndon, a certified wine sommelier.
Charlotte, hello. It's great to be with you today for the last episode in this milestone season. I'm calling it a milestone season because it is season number 5. And we're going to just close it out today with a simply fabulous wine.
I know, this season has flown by. Here we are, all the way at the very end of our case. The end of the season is always bittersweet for us. But complementing 5 full seasons, that's an accomplishment, right? I mean, we could be proud of that, considering many podcasts don't even make it past their first season.
Yes, it is. And listeners, we can't express how much fun it is doing this show for you. I mean, it's not just Charlotte and me talking to ourselves, right? We really appreciate the support we get. I have a blast, along with Charlotte, selecting the wines, planning the episodes, talking about food pairings, and then actually recording the episodes.
Yes,
right?
What we're doing right now is the best part, because that's actually when we get to drink the wines and share them with you. So if you've missed any of that sharing from our previous episodes this season or from any previous seasons, they're all available on most of the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We also have episode guides organized by season at wineswedrink.com, and you can also keep up with us all season long and throughout the year for occasional postage on Instagram at The Wines We Drink.
So now, Charlotte, it's time to turn our attention to today's wine choice.
At the end of last week's show, you teased our listeners by saying that we would be headed to your favorite winery, the place where you experienced a wine epiphany. And we've been doing this long enough for me to know exactly where you're referring to, so now it's time to share it with our audience.
Yeah, so first a little setup, okay? In each episode of this season, we have incorporated material from our book, Wine Conversations Exploring Meaning, Mystery, and Myth. The book itself is a compilation of 16 amazing conversations I had with a variety of industry professionals. But I began the book with an introduction that includes this very story that we're talking about. So I want you to indulge me and allow me to read a passage from the introduction to our book.
Yes, of course, please.
So this is from the book, quote, "My wine journey began in earnest in May 1990. While attending a conference in San Francisco, I had an opportunity to travel north into Napa Valley for a luncheon held in the impressive barrel room at Maryvale Vineyards. The elegant meal was paired with an exquisite Chardonnay that opened my senses to a world of wine I did not know existed until that moment. It was, as I have described many times since then, my wine epiphany. That experience launched a lifetime of wine exploration."
Wow. Now, listeners, you know where we're headed today. It is to Maryvale Vineyards in Napa Valley.
Yes, we are. From that moment, back in 1990, it became my favorite winery, and over the past 3 decades, the wines from Maryvale they've just simply gotten better and better. You know, so more about that as we go. You know, I alluded to a Chardonnay in that excerpt, and Maryvale continues to make excellent Chardonnay. But today, for the season finale, we had to go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is the finale after all, so I guess we're going home anyway. But I like the idea of going big, so I'm here for that. What does that mean, though, for today's wine we're drinking?
Well, it's a big bowl red wine.
Love it.
We're going with Maryvale's 2018 vintage Cabernet Sauvignon from its classic line. I mean, Maryvale has an extensive portfolio of wines, and any one of them would have provided an excellent capstone for the season, I think. But I selected this one because it truly represents the winery and its region. I mean, Wine Spectator described the bottle that we're going to be opening today, and I'm going to quote this, "Textbook Napa Cabernet, ripe, forthright, and well-defined."
A textbook example of a Napa Cab. I am all in for this one. Can we go for it? Is it time to fill our glasses?
Absolutely. So I'm eager to start talking about this vintage. I mean, let me just get this ready to go. I'm kind of excited about this one, right?
No, you excited?
Yeah. So let me pour this wonderful Maryville Cabernet. Yes. I think you know me pretty well, and I know that I get excited about wine, right? So as I poured these glasses, I had the wine in a decanter for about an hour. It needed that kind of time to open up and breathe, but its ruby red color, it's just been enticing us, ever since we started the recording on this.
You're exactly right. It has been enticing the entire time we've been sitting here. I think also just knowing that it's our last episode and it's our last sips. So it's been inviting, and that red hue, I would say, is so nice. I want to go ahead and grab the glass here that you've just poured and give it a great big sniff. I mean, you really didn't even need to give this big, bold red a big sniff, because as you were pouring it, those aromas were just emanating as well. But that first true sniff I would describe as just luxury, man. It is leather, tobacco, right? Dried herbs, just full, very full.
Yeah, luxury in a bottle.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a Napa Cab for you, luxury in a bottle. And once I get through that first layer of aromas, then there are hits of that really nice blueberry fruit.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. There's the dark fruit notes for sure, along with some nice savory spice there on the tail end of that sniff.
Yep. Before we go in for that first sip, allow me to share with our audience a bit more about this wine's composition.
Yeah.
Okay. Labeling laws vary by state, but in California, a bottle can be labeled as a specific varietal, so long as it contains at least 75% of that grape.
Okay.
So the wine we're about to drink is actually a blend, even though it's labeled Cabernet Sauvignon. Cab Sauv does make up 77% of this bottle, but that's followed by 17% Cabernet Franc, 4% Petit Verdot, and 2% Malbec.
So a bottle that's labeled as a single varietal, as is the case with this one, can actually be a blend, and that's pretty common, right? I mean, this is not unique in the wine world.
No, it's not unique at all in that respect. Consumers are drinking far more blended wine than they might even realize.
Well, I'm going in for my Cab Sauv-led blend. Cab Sauv enough, right?
Yeah, right. So let's have those first sips, right?
Oh, wow. That is incredible. I mean, the dark fruits are certainly at home here. That first sip gives you so much to think about. Blackberry, blackcurrant, but in a very jammy presentation, a jammy context. I would say, maybe there's plum in there grounding it down. It feels like a fruit reduction.
I love that. Those dark fruit flavors you mentioned, give this wine a richness. But what resonates with me are the notes that are derived from its time spent aging in oak. Mm-hmm. You get pronounced chocolate. There's a hint of mint. Simply elegant flavors. I mean, after all, this wine didn't merely kiss oak. Mm-hmm. Okay, it spent 21 months in French oak barrels, of which 60% were new. I mean, that's definitely going to impart those oaky flavors we love in a Napa Cab. Mm-hmm. The time spent in barrels also help round out and smooth its tannins. And it's just not a tight wine.
Yeah.
Right? The alcohol by volume is not too high. It comes in at 14.5%, kind of typical for a Napa Cab. All in all, it's what they textbook.
Right.
Napa
That's
Cab,
exactly
they said,
right. A textbook. But, it's smooth and velvety in its finish, but still has so much, again, like I said earlier, so much to think about, so much to talk about. It's really a play in 3 acts. There's some nice, bright acidity there. It's balanced. But there's even what I would describe as, some of that creamy texture.
Yeah, I mean, this is a full-bodied red for sure, but the winemaker's production notes confirm that creaminess that you're talking about. a spontaneous malolactic fermentation occurred before barrel aging began. We've explained this process before, but let me just give another brief explanation. It's a bacterial process where the wine's malic acid is converted into a lactic acid. And yes, that's the same lactic acid that's in milk. In wine, it contributes to that creaminess and smoothiness that you described.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that this wine was described as textbook. Okay. Does the fact that it's actually a blend detract at all from that?
Well, that's a really great question. I mean, there may be some varietal purist out there who would take exception, but personally, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. In any case, my position on this wine is it is a textbook example of a Napa Red that reflects its region.
How so?
Well, it's truly representative of Napa Valley in that the grapes are from iconic vineyards. Maryvale's own Profile Estate is here, but the fruit that went into this also came from the Stagecoach Vineyard, Hardman, Stanton, Sugarloaf, Skellinger, and Eminus vineyards. I mean, they were hand harvested at night to retain freshness and acidity. And I mean, it represents the very best of Napa in terms of fruit and technique.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense. And even though this vintage, it's a 2018, it's been in the bottle for a few years, it's still retained that freshness that they were aiming for. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this is an age-worthy wine that will continue to evolve and will stand up to the test of time. I mean, the Wine Spectator reviewed this, and by the way, they awarded it 93 points. I mean, they said it would be excellent through 2034.
Wow. Okay, so we've got a nice, healthy decade approximate. I would doubt that I would hold on to a wine as good as this for that long.
Yeah, same here. I've even had a hard time holding on to this bottle until we got to the recording day.
Yes.
I mean, I've eyed it, several times, recently on the rack here.
We were talking about, enticing, and what good is the bottle if you can't enjoy it with people? And I'm glad that you were able to hang on for you and I to be able to enjoy it today and share it with everyone that's listening.
Well, if I had to give in to temptation, there is more of this vintage available. We featured it at a tasting earlier this year at the Tapped Athens Wine Market in connection with our book launch. And the Maryvale website at the time of our recording still listed as a current release for sale.
So how much is this bottle currently listed for?
Well, the current bottle price online at Maryvale is $74, which is a fantastic price for a Napa Red of this quality. I mean, I understand that's not a price for an everyday table wine, but this is a bottle you can have on hand for one of those special meals. I mean, we mentioned that Wine Spectator rated it 93 points. Wine Enthusiast also gave it 93 points, and James Suckling gave it 92 points. It gets 4.2 out of 5 stars on the Vivino app, which places it among the top 2% of wines in the world. So a fantastic wine as a capstone wine for our milestone season.
Yeah, I will say, and I think that the scores are not surprising to me at all because it's an exceptional wine.
So if this wine is one of those bottles to have on hand for that special meal, we need you as your alter ego, Chef Charlotte, to give our listeners a food pairing that will hold up to this wonderful wine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to refer to it. When looking at the tasting and pairing notes for Napa Cabs, it's amazing how often you see the default go-to as a grilled ribeye steak. Don't get me wrong, that's a fantastic pairing and one of my favorite foods in general. But today I want to take our pairing down a slightly different path. It's still a beef dish because this is still a big red after all. But I'm pairing this wine with braised short ribs.
Oh, wow. Braised short ribs. That sounds like a fantastic pairing. I'm eager to hear more about this, but I'm really interested in sampling this pairing.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, with today's short rib dish, you certainly get that beefy meatiness that we want with a wine like this. But braising is a cooking method where you brown the meat and simmer it on a low heat for a relatively long time. In today's recipe, the technical cooking time neared 3 hours, and that doesn't include the time. I call these my overnight braised ribs, so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The amount of time elevates that braising liquid into a luscious gravy. It tenderizes the meat until it really just falls off the bone.
My mouth is watering hearing you describe it. I mean, if you didn't already know, my wife will tell you that braised ribs is one of my favorite dishes. I mean, if it's on a menu in a restaurant, it's hard
You're
for me to
going
turn
for
that
it.
down.
Yeah.
And although we've talked about your short rib dish, throughout our planning process for the season, I've not actually ever had your version. You've cooked a lot of meals for me. I can't wait to try out this dish from Chef Charlotte.
Oh, well, me too. I'm excited for you to try it. So I've got our dish here for us with our braised ribs. And so in pairing this wine with food, I felt it was really important to consider textures. So sure, a grilled steak will taste great, but the tenderness here of the braised short ribs is really going to play well with the smooth, velvety tannins we talked about in the finish of today's wine. It's not only going to support the wine, I feel it's going to lift it higher.
Well, I know I want to dig in here because it's smelling wonderful. But before we take our first bites, tell us a bit more about the recipe that you use for these braised short ribs.
Absolutely. So I mentioned these are my overnight braised ribs. So same method that I was describing earlier. It's seared in a cast iron Dutch oven. And then cooked down in red wine, beef stock, veggies, the typical mirepoix, and some herbs for multiple hours in the oven. And that continues marinating the meat in that liquid. And then I pull it out and store it overnight for it to just continue to unwind before being warmed and served the next day over mashed potatoes, more vegetables. The spices used in this recipe are rosemary, thyme, garlic, very effervescent. Those are the aromas that you're probably picking up on. And so it provides a good punch alongside that succulent, rich red meat that's taken its time to unwind, just like this wine needed to.
Well, I can't wait any longer, okay? I've got to take my first bite and sip. So please join me in this, Charlotte.
Yes,
okay?
Let's do it. Enjoy. Okay, listeners, you're going to have to indulge us a bit here. We have to keep having a couple more bites of this and some more sips here, I'll say.
Absolutely. When you think of braised short ribs, or when you say braised short ribs, you think of a simple dish, comfort food. But Charlotte, this is anything but simple. I mean, the layers of flavor that you've built into this dish are just impressive.
Oh, thank you. I mean, indeed, short ribs are a labor of love and patience, I would say, because they're best when you give the ribs time to age, if you will, right? In the braising liquid, we talked about how that just reduces down and requires its time to produce that excellent rich sauce that gets served alongside the dish. I mentioned we use some of the wine featured today in the cooking process that brings that full-bodied flavor that's complemented by the veggies and spices that have braised with that meat. And then also the actual cut of meat itself, right? So using a bone-in, rich meat like a short rib is going to add much more substance when stacking it against this full-bodied red.
Well, when I'm drinking this wine and eating it with these ribs, the texture of the meat, the creaminess of this wine, it blends together, and then you have these nice savory notes from the beef braising process, and then the savory notes from the wine. It's just this marriage of flavors. It's just this wonderful concert playing in your mouth, right?
And even as we're talking, I feel like the flavors are still here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just unbelievable. I mean, okay, Chef Charlotte, we've ended the Chef Charlotte for season 5 on the highest of high notes.
Oh, good. Well, like you said, go big or go home, right? And we're going to do both.
That's it, right?
Well, Keith and I are going to enjoy a few more bites of these short ribs, drink a few more sips of wine while we take a short break. We'll be right back for the finish of all finishes. Not only for this episode, but for all of season 5. Welcome back, everyone, to Wines We Drink. This is the portion of the show we call The Finish. And we just said before the break, this is the finish of all finishes of today's episode and for all of season 5. We've come to the finale.
Yeah, our last episode, right? And what an episode it's been. I mean, after indulging with your wonderful beef short rib and pairing that with our amazing Napa Cab, I'm satisfied and satiated, right? We've had so much fun this season. And I just have to say, introducing your alter ego, Chef Charlotte, has been a wonderful addition to our show. So many amazing dishes. I mean, you've definitely elevated the show, right? So thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. It's been such a fantastic learning experience for me, too. And I trust our listeners have enjoyed learning along with me.
Well, our feedback that we get from our listeners has certainly told us that that's absolutely the case. And I want to use that to give another big shout out to our loyal fans. Thank you for supporting us.
Absolutely. We keep doing this partly because we have so much fun, but also because we love engaging with you. And so please do stay in touch with us on Instagram at The Wines We Drink. We'd love to stay in touch there. But as we reflect on this past season, do you think there's been a thread or a theme that has emerged? Perhaps something that surprised you even after all the planning that you put into these episodes?
Well, that's another great question. And I think, yes, there has been a theme, if you will, that I'm just going to say it this way. The wine industry is full of genuine people who are trying their best to create great products or support the industry in really positive ways. We've built this season using material from our book, Wine Conversations, and you can't read any of those 16 interviews without coming away with this sense of hopefulness for the industry, right?
Like you said, the industry's going through a tough time. Lots of shifting demographics, restructuring. But those people you interviewed, from grape growers and winemakers to scientists and sommeliers, they all care. And that provided the inspiration for all of our episodes this season.
Let's use one more example from the book that it inspired our selection of today's wine. It was our interview with Renee Schlater, the proprietor and CEO of Maryvale. He has many wine accolades, including being named Wine Enthusiast Person of the Year back in 2011. I mean, I've had the opportunity to meet him on a couple of occasions at his winery, but his interview confirmed his passion for the business. I mean, he took over the wineries from his father and brought his European wine sensibilities to Napa. I mean, he and his family are from Switzerland. Allow me to read a brief excerpt from my interview with him. Quote, "We produce wines that we enjoy drinking ourselves. We know we can't please everyone, but our style, perhaps more restrained and subtle than some of our neighbors, reflects our European influence and an old world approach to winemaking."
That line, "we produce wines that we enjoy drinking ourselves," says a lot. I feel like that resonates with the two of us too, right? Why would you do anything else? The industry has to embrace authenticity if it wants to appeal to today's wine consumers. It has to tell its story of sustainability and become more approachable.
Well, the one thing that you and I can guarantee to our audience is that our selections on this show are the wines that we like to drink. It's authentic. We're not paid influencers. I'm not sure anybody would want to pay us to be an influencer.
Also true.
Right? But I can't end this season without another shameless plug for the book, right? I mean, in that regard, because we've had so many wonderful interviews, So if any of the episodes that we've had inspired you to read the book, you can get it through Amazon or through our local distributor, Neighborhood Books. The purchase links are on our website at wineswedrink.com.
Keith, have we just put the finish on our 60th show? How do you feel?
Well, blessed, I would think, right?
Yeah.
60 episodes. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, we talked about earlier, I'm not even sure we thought we would get through the first 12.
Right.
It's such an honor to do this show with you. We started 5 summers ago. I never imagined what this little show would achieve. 2 wins in the Taste Awards, 5-time finalist, a book, lots of interaction with industry experts and loyal listeners. I have to just relate to one day that I was sitting in the tap wine bar. Mm-hmm. These people came in, they went up to Todd, and they said, "We've not been here before, but we've heard about Tapped, listening to the Wines We Drink podcast."
Wow. How cool is that?
Todd Hurt, the proprietor, turned around and he said, "Well, there's Keith Herndon, the co-host of that show right there."
Right.
So it was just one of those moments, right? We could not do this without you, partner. And I appreciate all of that you brought to the show this season.
Well, and likewise, and your sentiments and your story kind of just show us the community that we've built, seen or unseen, outside of our little wine kitchen moments that we have here. So I'm incredibly grateful to you. I'm incredibly grateful to our listeners. We've said this time and time again, but truly, thank you for finding us among the thousands of podcast choices you have. We recognize that you chose to be here today, and we appreciate it, and we do it for you, and we want to keep going.
And that's the finish for episode 12, season 5. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wines We Drink. Listen to our other episodes anywhere you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Wines We Drink, and check out our episode guides at wineswedrink.com. Cheers.